Hey yo, chapter 113 is finally starting to connect the dots with chapter 66. When Hoshino was talking to Kafka about the huge cataclysm that happened because of the Daikaiju of the Merieki Era. He talked about how that Daikaiju almost burned Kanto down to the ground. And we finally saw what that Daikaiju looked like this chapter, and it was a sight to see. That kaiju was terrifying. It was giant. It was deformed. And on top of that, we know that it's an amalgamation of multiple kaiju. So who knows how many powers it is housing inside of that body? And what if it finds a way to manifest itself in real life? Not only that, it was very interesting and telling to see Kaiju number 9 talking to number 8 this chapter. At the end of number 9's journey, even he realized that number 8 and Kafka are not deeply connected right now. So there is so much room for them to grow strength-wise. Once they do become deeply connected, will they be able to revert back to human whenever Kafka wants to? Will he be able to draw more powers, more latent powers out? And I think for sure that Kafka will be able to manipulate his body more. Exactly how it was in episode 2 or in the early chapters of Kaiju number 8, when number 8 first took over Kafka and started making his body turn into all those crazy things. But we're going to talk about that in this video. So let's get into it. So chapter 113 starts off with us figuring out that Kafka really did it, dog. He landed the core shattering shot on number 9, but as number 9's core is being destroyed, he looks at number 8 and says, let's have a little chat, and brings number 8 to that conscious space that Mina was in before, except this time the background's different. This time we are brought to the end of the battlefield of the Daikaiju of the Merieki Era. How many times can I say of, dog? Oh my gosh. But this probably would have been back in 1657, like whenever Hoshino was telling Kafka before. And on this battlefield, we see a bunch of samurai warriors that look identical to the samurai warrior that we saw at the Ryunei shrine, right? So it's starting to click, right? It's starting to put some pieces into place. Kafka looks around and is confused and is wondering, where is he at? He knows that he's on a battlefield, but he's inside of number 9 right now. He sees an Oni mask on the ground and knows that it looks familiar because of the ghost of the Ryunei shrine, and then sees a kid-like version of Kaiju number 9. And seeing that chubby version of Kaiju number 9, dog, was funny because he looks so innocent, knowing what number 9 is going to end up turning into. But number 9 looks at number 8 and tells him, at first he thought that it was a coincidence that he showed up. But from the moment that he sensed who it was inside of him, he knew that this was a stroke of fate that was unavoidable. Number 9 and number 8 were always going to end up clashing against one another. And Kafka is completely confused as to what number 9 is even talking about at this point. But 9 and Kafka are just gazing around the battlefield, and 9 looks over at Kafka and asks him, do you really not know where we are right now? And Kafka's like, bro, what are you talking about? And that's when 9 says, no, I see. You two aren't deeply linked yet. To think that you were able to exert that much power, it looks like your grudge from back then was intense. And whenever he said that, it was so telling to me in multiple ways. First off, number 8 shouldn't have been able to beat number 9. Kafka and number 8 got that mad that they were able to take out 9 like that. And even 9 is realizing that now. Like, this is how angry you still are. But not only that, how angry you still are, right? Some of that anger came from Kafka, but another part of that anger came from number 8. And that shows that number 8 is mad from way back during this fight versus the Daikaiju of the Merieki Era from 1657. And this is when I couldn't help but start to think that Kaiju number 8 might have been the one to defeat this great Daikaiju of the Merieki Era from 1657, dog. And part of the reason why number 8 is probably so angry still, probably why number 8 wants to kill Kaiju, and to take it one step further, probably why 8 re-emerged and found itself a new host. is because it sensed this great threat coming back to civilization again, dog. Number 8 saw all of its comrades dead on the field. We saw it whenever Kaiju number 9 brought us to this world. We saw all those samurai warriors laid out dead on the ground. I have to imagine that number 8 was being utilized by another human host back in the day that was also a samurai warrior, but number 8 and this human host probably had a much better and deeper link than what Kafka and number 8 have right now. Kafka is so afraid of becoming a kaiju that he is suppressing his kaiju, and inadvertently that is weakening his communication with number 8. But I don't think that that's what it was like back in the day for this samurai warrior. I think that this samurai warrior back in the day saw all of his comrades die because of this Daikaiju of the Merieki Era. And it put everything into taking this Daikaiju out, bro. He was mad. He saw his comrades pass, bro. He saw Kanto almost completely burned down to a crisp. How would you not be mad? And because of that direct influence, that anger from what this Daikaiju did all the way back in the day, Kaiju number 8 to this day,
and to this day,
is still angry, bro. Kaiju number 8, I would even say, found Kafka because Kafka was angry at Kaiju. Kafka was about to lose his life. He couldn't protect Gurdaman, he couldn't protect Reno, and he couldn't keep his promise to Mina, and he was about to die, and all he could yell was, damn it, but he got saved. And I am starting to think that number 8 might have found Kafka strictly because it felt that same intensity, and they were compatible from that aspect. I would say that Reno and number 6 are both compatible because number 6's power is literally ice. It's cold. Reno's parents passed away and his family passed. He has been cold to this world, right? He doesn't have people that he's close to like that. Isao, the most prideful man in the defense force, is the only person compatible with Kaiju number 2, the most prideful Daikaiju that they've ever found, right? And I think Kafka's anger, his intensity whenever he was getting attacked by that spider-looking kaiju is what made number 8 find Kafka. And number 8 was on the look because number 8 was looking for somebody that it could be compatible with to go out and take out the presence of this Daikaiju of the Merieki Era that it felt again. That was a lot of headcanon, but that is my take from what I read right here, seeing number 8 and number 9 talking. And on top of that, this is a kaiju story. Godzilla, the most famous kaiju of all time. When does he pull up on the scene, bro? It's whenever some outside entity thinks that they can disturb the balance of what's going on right now. And Godzilla says, oh, some other kaiju is pulling up and trying to claim this as their territory? Nah, we're fighting. I'm going and restoring balance. Or the humans have created Mechagodzilla. Nah, that thing's not gonna keep the peace. That is bringing balance out of order. I'm going to go restore balance and destroy Mechagodzilla. The whole point, I think, of number 8 and why it probably lay dormant for so long is because it didn't need to go out and fight any sort of calamity that was anywhere near the strength or feats of this Daikaiju of the Merieki Era. But it probably sensed this Daikaiju and said, nah, I gotta go kill that kaiju. I gotta restore the balance. So I actually can't wait until Kafka in number 8 talk a little bit more, because then number 8 can tell us all of this from its perspective. Why did you pick me? Why are you so angry? Why do you want to kill kaiju? And why did you wait till now to go and find people? Kafka is suppressing 8 so much that 8 can't tell Kafka those messages. And maybe even number 8 showing Kafka the ghost of the Ryunei shrine is number 8's desperate attempt to say, dog, listen to me. Stop suppressing me. Listen to me. I'm trying to tell you what's going on. So I don't know, dog. I don't know. It'll be interesting to keep on seeing that aspect of things because right now all we're getting is what number 9 is saying. And number 9 from there told Kafka, hey bro, you won this fight. I admit defeat. I really enjoyed myself and you humans surpassed my expectations Time after time after time, I wanted to know more. I wanted to research more. I wanted to get closer to humans. Kafka said, boy, stop lying. And I said, nah, for real. I ain't got no more tricks up my sleeve. I run all out of options, dog. And Kafka says, if that's true, then what are those things that are trying to escape your body right now? And again, we see that hive mind and all those kaiju that number 9 is basically comprised of. In the moment that kaiju number 8 senses that hive mind that number 9 is comprised of, it gets pissed and starts saying kill over and over. And Kafka again is confused why number 8 is reacting this way. But 9 says now that his core has been destroyed, his equilibrium is upset and he will be reduced to nothing but a beast that just wants to destroy. And from there, that is when we finally see it make an appearance. The Daikaiju of the Merieki Era, bro. And it was insane to see this, but this hive mind thing, it almost seems like it was sealed away inside of Kaiju number 9. It's like Kaiju number 9 was the last thing protecting us from this Daikaiju being able to make a reappearance. So I'm almost wondering, if this Daikaiju was destroyed back in the day, how is it still inside of number 9 now, right? We saw that kid version of number 9 on the battlefield, and I almost can't help but wonder, was maybe the full core not totally destroyed whenever it was defeated back in the Merieki Era? And it's a piece of its core found a way to get lodged inside of number 9, or number 9 consumed a part of its core, and that's how it's found a way to keep on living on all these years? Regardless, if it really was defeated all those years ago, like Hoshina said, and like it was written about in the textbooks, how is it finding its way to manifest itself inside of Kaiju number 9, or to be sealed away inside Kaiju number 9's core? And even after this is over, is it going to be able to manifest itself in real life? Was Kaiju number 9's core almost just housing this thing and just waiting for it to be brolic enough to finally be able to be out on its own? Because if it just walks out of Kaiju number 9 right now amongst society, who knows what this thing will be able to do to people out in real life. And the chapter basically ends off with Mina is looking at Kafka in real life outside of that conscious space that 9 or 8 are in, and 9 has completely stabbed through the chest of number 8, bro. And I'm honestly not too worried about that. Kafka is going to be fine. I was so much more encumbered and like enamored with everything happening in that conscious space that I just knew that Kafka getting stabbed right here is gonna be fine. Kafka is gonna live through this. I still have to question, is Kafka keeping his mind, right? Is he still gonna be berserk once everything like goes to hell? Especially now that he's been punctured through his chest like this. Is number 8 just gonna take over and fully go rampant on everybody around? And on top of that, I kind of talked about it earlier in my video, but I'll be very excited to see what Kafka can actually do once he is able to communicate with number 8 better. Because the thing that I know that Kafka will be able to do is utilize his body more. He'll be able to grow in size. He'll be able to do things that this berserk state of Kafka can do that Kafka just doesn't understand he can do yet, right? The first thing that always comes to my mind is whenever number 8 first took over Kafka and they left the hospital, number 8 was turning Kafka's legs into a bunch of tentacles. It was making double mouths and reaching out and eating birds, right? There were so many things that were going on with Kafka's body, and I think that's just because 8 was getting settled in. But it also shows that 8 can do those things. So even though Kafka has shown us so much, he's also shown us so little. And the only way for him to ever draw out that full power is to communicate with number 8. So we'll see what keeps on happening. But honestly, I don't really have any predictions for this next chapter, bro. Matsumoto has completely taken us in a direction that I don't think anybody could have predicted at this point. We kind of had an idea that maybe number 9 was a puppet of sorts, and it does seem like that. It seems like number 9 is a puppet, but bro, what is this Daikaiju of the Merieki Era and what can it do? We'll see in a couple weeks. So as always, if you tuned in, arigato, and I am planning on actually dropping another kaiju video between now and before the next chapter comes out. It's going to be a theory about a certain something. I don't want to say what. You'll see. Tune in. But until then, I will catch you later. Peace.